Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Black power.
Support this man, Black media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Today is Monday, October 6, 2025. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. We are on day 6 of the government shutdown, and the Senate will hold its 5th vote on the spending bill aimed at reopening the government. House Democratic Leader Hakeem Jeffries challenging Speaker Mike Johnson to a primetime debate. We'll tell you how Johnson responded. A federal judge has decided not to block Trump's order to deploy National Guard troops to the state, rejecting a lawsuit from the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago against this order. In the Trump-Georgia election interference case, if a new prosecutor is not appointed soon, the judge has indicated that he will dismiss the case entirely. The president of Georgia's NAACP will join us to discuss. Voters in New Orleans head to the polls on Saturday to elect Their next mayor will talk with one of the candidates. Plus, the Gathering for Justice celebrates 20 years of standing for justice, community, and real impact. We'll discuss their upcoming gala with the organization's president and CEO. Folks, it is time to bring the funk on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, the Senate, this is a live look at the United States Senate, where they will be holding their fifth vote on a funding bill to keep the government open, or actually end the government shutdown. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says the only way out of this shutdown is through a meeting between Republican and Democratic congressional leaders and the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald Trump. Earlier today, Democratic House Leader Hakeem Jeffries sent a letter to House Speaker Mike Johnson challenging him to a primetime debate over the shutdown. Dear Johnson, dear Speaker Johnson, I'd like to challenge you to a debate on the floor of the House of Representatives any day this week in prime time, broadcast live to the American people. Democrats have been clear and consistent in our position. The country needs immediate bipartisan negotiations between the White House and congressional leadership in order to reach an enlightened spending agreement that reopens the government, improves the lives of hardworking American taxpayers, and addresses the Republican health care crisis. Unfortunately, Donald Trump and your party decided to shut down the government because the GOP refuses to provide health care to everyday Americans. Further, you have kept House Republicans on vacation instead of working with Democrats to reopen the government. Republicans have set in motion a health care crisis that has ended Medicaid as we know it and ripped coverage away from millions of working-class Americans. Throughout the country, including in your home state of Louisiana, hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers are closing. Equally troublesome, if the Affordable Care Act tax credits are allowed to expire, millions more will lose their health care coverage. The cost of premiums, copays, and deductibles will skyrocket in an environment where Republican policies continue to make life too expensive. Given the urgency of the moment and the Republican refusal to negotiate a bipartisan agreement, a debate on the House floor will provide the American people with the transparency they deserve. It will also give you an opportunity to explain your my way or the highway approach to shutting the government down when Democratic votes are needed to resolve the impasse that exists. Thank you for your prompt attention to this matter. I look forward to our debate. Well, Johnson did respond, and to a reporter who asked him if he would take Jeffries up on this challenge.
When the poll says that about 13% of the people approve of your messaging, then you make desperate pleas for attention, and that's what Hakeem Jeffries has done. Look, my friend Hakeem had his shot. We debated all this on the House floor, as you know, before he passed our bill. He spoke for 7 or 8 minutes. He had all of his colleagues lined up. They gave it their best shot, and they argued, and they stomped their feet and screamed at us and all that. And still, we passed the bill in bipartisan fashion and sent it over to the Senate. The House has done its job. I'm not going to let Hakeem try to pretend for these theatrics. I mean, this is a Chuck Schumer decision. The ball is in the Senate's court now. The House has done this. We don't need to waste time on that nonsense. Those debates have been had. Hakeem is a friend and a colleague. I respect him, but we all know what he's trying to do there.
Well, folks, guess what? CBS, YouGov, they've got a new poll that speaks to how it's being handled. So 32% approve of Trump, 52% disapprove, 16% not sure. Congressional Republicans, 28 approve, disapprove 52%, not sure 20%. Congressional Democrats, 27% approve, 49% disapprove, not sure 24%. So the disapprove category, actually Democrats are lower. than Republicans, but also in the approved category, they're also lower. They have higher not sure remarks. Now, concern about the government economy, the effect on the shutdown. 49% say they are very concerned. 31% say somewhat concerned. 20% not concerned. Are their positions worth a government shutdown? Democratic positions worth it, 28. Republican positions, 23. Not worth it, Democrat 40. Republicans 45, not sure 32. So those are not great numbers, but they also speak to where people are. My panel, Dr. Omekongo Dibinga, Senior Professorial Lecturer, School of International Service, American University, author of Lies About Black People, How to Combat Racist, out of D.C. Zabora G., DEIA Consultant and Employment Specialist, out of D.C. Diambe Carter, author and Associate Professor, School of Public Policy, University of Maryland, out of D.C. as well. Diambe, I want to start with you. There's a lot of polling here, but the reality is Republicans have been trying desperately to say Democrats own this, but the public polling shows that people are blaming Republicans for this shutdown. Now we're seeing that Trump is signaling he will sit down with Democrats to discuss this. They know they're being hurt by this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And I think the things that they're going after, like the Affordable Care Act, are quite popular, more popular than any of them are, quite frankly, in their job. So, look, I think this is going to be one of those cases where we won't quite know where the public is going to go on this. We're in the second week, but if this is like 2018, where you have a 35-day shutdown, I think we will see some very different numbers. I think right now people haven't quite felt the pinch, but we know that recipients of SNAP and WIC are going to feel that pinch very soon. The runway is not very long here for many people in this country to start feeling the hurt of this. I mean, not to mention federal workers, right? Many of whom are furloughed and not being paid at this moment. So I think there's very little time for both groups to come to the table. But I think the Republicans actually have more to lose right now by allowing this to continue. And I think people are not as interested in these stories about, immigrants taking or using federal benefits that they don't actually have access to, and want to know, well, what is the government going to do for me now that, these non-essential services are shut down and these federal employees are home?
This right here on the Congo is more of that CBS YouGov poll. Blame the most for government shutdown. Trump and Republicans in Congress, 39%. Democrats in Congress, 30%. Both equally 31%. Again, this is showing who is getting the blame for this.
Yeah, and I think that these numbers are going to go up. I think that's why Trump is saying that he's willing to meet, because the fact of the matter is we're coming up on this Friday. It's going to be the first time checks are supposed to go out and may not. Military families are like the next week, I believe the 15th or so, are all supposed to be looking at checks they may not get. You saw Trump speaking to the Navy this weekend, talking about, don't worry about it, I'm going to pay you. You also have the situation with the farmers. How is he going to give them a bailout where there's no Department of Agriculture that's open to be able to issue checks? And so Mike Johnson is clearly making the rounds more than we've ever seen, because they're really trying to control the narrative. But even some Democrats have gone on some of these Fox Spaces and have broken down the hypocrisy of all of this. And so Mike Johnson can go out to his restaurant and chill, and Trump can go play his golf, but the American people are not stupid. Furthermore, the Republicans are not in Washington, D.C., and Democrats need to do a better job in terms of the imaging and messaging of just walking by these Congress folks' doors and showing that they're actually not there. How are you going to negotiate when people aren't even showing up? I also give credit to the Democrats, from AOC and Bernie to what Hakeem Jeffries have been doing. They've been consistent. They've been on message. They kept the messaging simple, and they deserve a lot of props for that as well. And I'm hoping that they continue to hold out, because the majority of Americans have their back.
Zabora.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all of that. I think that thinking about disabled individuals and how it's going to really impact the American people at home, people are really concerned about losing benefits and about, not being able to have disabled individuals are dependent on that Social Security income, and elderly are dependent on that Social Security income. So to have the shutdown continuing, and like he said, no one is really negotiating. You're not even here to negotiate. It creates a really big problem for the disabled community that already are having, limited supports and don't have the accommodations and things they need. And for those individuals that are trying to take care of their children, take care of their families, and still, go to work and all of these things, I just think that it's really important that we come to some kind of conclusion and we really think about what's more important. Is it going to be not really working together, or is the long-term impacts of what that big, beautiful bill is going to do to those services more important?
Absolutely. All right, folks, so we're going to keep watching to see what happens. We're watching the Senate vote. We'll tell you what happens there as well. Got to go to break. We come back. A couple of different federal judges deal a positive and a negative to Trump in their efforts to send National Guard to different states. We'll tell you about those decisions next, right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
This week on The Other Side of Change,
we are talking about our North Star, our luminary, our guide, Assata Shakur, who recently passed away in Cuba. We're going to unpack her legacy.
I refuse to allow Assata's legacy to die before children that aren't even born. Our babies that aren't even born must know her and must know her. And that roadmap is going to get us closer to liberation.
You're watching The Other Side of Change only on the Black Star Network.
Next on The Black Table with me, Craig Carr. A reminder that there is always more to a story than meets the eye. From book bannings, growing censorship in our classrooms, and the loss of basic human rights, the actual motivations behind those actions and others paint an even more troubling picture than most of us realize.
What we need to do is bring this issue front and center to the table, because the alternative is that we'll just go down slow, which is no way to go down.
Master historian and educator Dr. Gerald Horn joins us again, and we take a deep dive into the truths behind the headlines of the day and how we might be able to turn the tide. That's on the next Black Table here on the Black Star Network.
I got it. Coming to me.
Melanie Camp, on Black Civic Participation and Black Women's Roundtable. And we are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered all day, every day, 24/7. Spread the word.
Folks, a couple of different federal judges have ruled regarding troops going to different states. First and foremost, a federal judge has ruled that Donald Trump cannot send federal troops from California to Portland, Oregon. Of course, California Governor Gavin Newsom also said he will sue the Trump administration after they federalized 300 California National Guard troops. Now, here's what's crazy, y'all. Trump, they're trying to claim that, oh my God, Portland, Oregon is just out of control. It's crazy. But here's the problem. That's not what the people in Portland are saying. So he's sitting here claiming that, Portland is just crazy. It's just unbelievable. It's just out of control. Well, the police chief is like, no, it's not. In fact, I'm trying to find, this was a soundbite last week where the police chief addressed it. And this was actually, this is one of the bites right here. Y'all gonna trip out. The chief said, it's one block. What are y'all talking about? All right, listen to this.
Is there a myth or a misconception since this news broke that you're like, oh, I just wish people understood this?
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, and it's been highlighted so many times so well, but I just want to emphasize, this is one city block. City of Portland is about 145 square miles. This is one city block. And even the events that are happening down there do not rise to the level of attention that they are receiving. We are seeing this true for our society in whole. I'm not going to try and editorialize too much, but these, 30-second, 20-second, 15-second clips that are brought in from months ago or maybe even years ago. We've seen Portland portrayed through the events of the lens of 20 and 21. And what's actually happening in the response that we're seeing both from Portlanders and from the Portland Police Bureau is not in line with that national narrative. And it is frustrating, but we're going to continue.
I mean, that's the police chief, y'all. So who should you believe? Lying-ass Trump, lying-ass Stephen Miller, who should you believe? Now, there was a battle back and forth today between CNN's Caitlin Collins and the chief liar-in-chief, that is Carolyn Levitt, Trump's spokesperson. So listen to this back and forth.
A federal judge over the weekend that the president had appointed to the bench in his first term in office basically argued that he could not deploy other states' National Guards to Portland, basically said that it was untethered, his argument, to what is actually happening on the ground. Which local officials in Portland have said that the National Guard is needed there?
With all due respect to that judge, I think her opinion is untethered in reality and in the law. The president is using his authority as commander-in-chief, U.S. Code 12406, which clearly states that the president has the right to call up the National Guard in cases where he deems it's appropriate. And if you look at what has happened in Portland, Oregon, for more than 100 nights, I was talking to our law enforcement team about it this morning, for more than 100 days, night after night after night, the ICE facility has been really under siege by these anarchists outside. They have been disrespecting law enforcement. They've been inciting violence. We saw, again, a guillotine rolled out in front of this federal building. And so the president wants to ensure that our federal buildings and our assets are protected. And that's exactly what he's trying to do. And ultimately, in the case in Los Angeles, that judge ruled in the Ninth Circuit, that panel of judges ruled that those troops could remain and that the president was well within his authority to do so. So we are appealing that decision. As you know, we expect a hearing on it pretty quickly, and we're very confident in the president's legal authority to do this, and we're very confident we will win on the merits of the law.
But no local officials that you can point to that have said we need the National Guard? Because I spoke to the police chief of Portland last week. He said that the president's claims just don't match up with what's happening on the ground.
I would encourage you as a reporter to go on the ground and to take a look at it for yourself, because there's been many members of the press, not press in this room, but independent journalists, some of whom we'll be inviting to the White House very soon to share their stories, because they have been in the middle of these riots and they have witnessed the anarchy that is taking place night after night. It's on video. You should play it on your show. You have a great opportunity on primetime on CNN to show your audience. Yeah, but you're probably talking to partisan Democrat officials who are opposed to everything this president does. You should also ask the people who live in Portland. We've actually heard from many members of the community who have said that this is complete civil disobedience. It's a mess. It's been loud. It's been troubling for neighbors in the community who are just trying to live peacefully. And these people are not there to peacefully protest. They are there to cause mayhem and havoc.
Okay, so that's the BS they're peddling. Well, guess what? Nicholas Kristof, who was with the New York Times, actually went to Oregon, posted a video, and I thought it was pretty hilarious, this video that he posted. All right, y'all, check this out.
Be careful. Portland is on fire. Our president says so. You can hear the artillery booming, the rival gangs fighting, the clouds of tear gas all around us. Be careful. But actually, this isn't a war zone, whatever Trump says. This is perfectly peaceful. So, during the ceasefire, I'm going to attend an Oregon Historical Society dinner.
Now, of course, that's Oregon. We see what is happening in Chicago, totally different. We have seen vicious efforts by ICE there, rappelling down from Black Hawk helicopters against this one particular building. I mean, zip ties of grown people, have dressed folks, children as well. A 2-year-old child. Really? Zip-tied? I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker addressed this issue as well. This is what he had to say.
Earlier today, the state of Illinois filed a lawsuit challenging Donald Trump's unlawful and unwarranted plans to deploy armed military troops to Chicago. There is no invasion here. There is no insurrection here. The local and state law enforcement are on the job and managing what they need to.
Right. So that was the governor. Now, Mayor Brandon Johnson, Chicago mayor, addressed this issue as well, because what we saw take place in this one particular building where they claimed they were going after Venezuelan gang members, but it was black folks who were being pulled out, who were standing there detained, arrested, 3 o'clock in the morning, half clothed, children as well. This is the mayor.
Thank you to the community-based organizations that are standing together in this critical moment in our nation's history. We are here today to talk about the events that have transpired over the past week. The past week revealed the true face of the administration's immigration enforcement in our city, and the entire world was able to witness that. On Tuesday, federal immigration agents raided an apartment building in the South Shore community in the middle of the night. This building was managed by a slumlord that people have all been clear about. The city actually sued the owner in February over 15 building code violations. The residents were dealing with deplorable conditions already. This was before ICE trampled. But when they came in the middle of the night, they terrorized the families that were living there. There were children who were without clothing, who were zip-tied, taken outside at 3 o'clock in the morning. A senior resident, an American citizen, with no warrants, was taken outside and handcuffed for 3 hours. Doors were blown off their hinges, walls were broken through, immigration agents coming from Black Hawk helicopters to set up snipers on nearby buildings. This is America. One resident described the situation plainly, and I quote, "They had immigrants in one van and black people in another van." This raid wasn't about public safety. It was about and it's certainly not about immigration. This was about a show of authoritarianism, a forceful display of tyranny. They sent a clear message to all Chicagoans. They said, "We do not respect your rights. We can do anything we want and we will film it and put it on social media." The very next day, ICE agents chased people outside of a homeless shelter on the south side and then caused a car accident on the west side. Immigration agents put a young black man in a chokehold on the side of the street in East Garfield Park. Witnesses, one of which you will hear from this morning, bravely filmed the interaction, eventually leading to this person's release. On Friday, agents dispersed tear gas in the middle of a busy city street. Chicagoans were hit with chemical agents while walking their children home from school. A couple ran from tear gas with a 2-year-old child in their care. Agents went into the Humboldt Park Health Center and detained a sitting elected official, Alder Jessie Fuentes, of the 26th Ward, because she simply requested to see a warrant. On Saturday, they escalated even further by shooting a U.S. citizen. They claimed it was defensive fire, but frankly, we cannot trust anything that comes out of the administration. It was only a few short weeks ago that they claimed officers were severely injured in the killing of Mr. Villegas Gonzalez in Franklin Park. A Sun-Times investigation found that the agent said on a body camera footage that it was, in fact, nothing major. We have a rogue, reckless group of heavily armed masked individuals roaming throughout our city that are not accountable to the people of Chicago. Their actions put all Chicagoans at risk. When protesters confronted federal immigration agents in Brighton Park on Saturday, they were met with pepper balls and more repression. CPD responded to attempt to de-escalate the situation, and ICE tear-gassed our police officers. Let me be clear. Tear gassing women and men who serve as Chicago Police Department officers is not how we make our city safer. I'm calling for a full investigation into this incident and into all of the brutality that we have seen over the past week. They are taking police resources that should be in our neighborhoods, serving Chicagoans and diverting them to deal with the chaos that they are causing. We need ICE out of our city so that we can continue to focus on the strategies that have been working to drive violent crime down. These actions tell us a simple truth. If we allow this administration to take away due process for anyone, we will allow them to take away due process for everyone. They told us that this was about the worst of the worst. In reality, they are going after anyone who objects to families being ripped apart and community members being disappeared. ICE lies and people die. We cannot allow this to continue. We must take action more drastic than what we have taken before, because what we are seeing is a more radical attempt to undermine our democracy. And today, we are signing an executive order aimed at reining in this out-of-control administration. The order establishes ICE-free zones. That means that city property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids.
Folks, it has been absolutely crazy, and now we have this here. CBS did a story talking about how these ICE agents are tying up local police by calling 911 for bogus calls. Check this out.
You are watching as Broadview police respond to a 911 call, claiming someone was tampering with a gate at the ICE detention facility there. Body camera footage obtained by the CBS News Chicago investigators shows several Broadview police officers respond to an alleged Homeland Security threat. The gate in question is where ICE takes detained immigrants for processing.
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up?
Not much.
How are you?
Good. We got a call of subjects trying to climb over the fence or something.
No, not since we've been here.
But when police arrive, all they find is two people and a camera. Our CBS photographer filming the exterior of the building with a CBS security guard by his side.
Okay, and you guys didn't tamper with any of the...
No, man. The 911 call claiming someone was tampering with the gate came from an ICE agent. According to this incident report, an ICE agent called police for help.
But he can't go and try to force his way into that door.
Okay, so the guy in the
He just says that he was just recording. The camera.
Do you believe that that was a false call?
I do.
Again, it was just our CBS photographer filming the exterior of the building.
In your mind, bogus.
Yes. It's disturbing. It's ridiculous.
Broadview Police Chief Thomas Mills says this is just one of several questionable 911 calls his police department has received from ICE at this facility recently. This same detention center has become the site of at least 3 other incidents involving federal agents who are accused of hitting people with cars, shooting projectiles, and using chemical agents on journalists, including a CBS reporter.
Crazy is that? Now, I don't know if y'all saw this here. Before I go to my panel, I want to show y'all this here. So, you know Ice Barbie? Ice Barbie was in Broadview, okay? And she actually tried to go to a city facility because she wanted to use the restroom. And they were like, nah, we're good. And so, you know, so she was whining, complaining on the right wing show, Benny Johnson, you know, the dude who got all that money from Russia. So, y'all, check this out.
Can we use the restroom?
No, you cannot.
We can?
Please don't close the door. Please don't close the door.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Interesting. That's what Governor Pritzker says is cooperation in keeping people safe.
So why wouldn't they let you in? What's been going on here? What's been going on here, Secretary?
We were coming to go out and do some operations to pick up some guys with criminal convictions on them, and the city police wouldn't even let us use a restroom.
And you were just blocked by a worker here for the city?
A worker at the municipal building here in Broadmoor would not allow us to go in and to use the restroom at the police station. So as much as these local leaders and governors talk about cooperating and having the backs of our law enforcement officers, this is what we have to put up with every single day. And all we're doing is getting criminals, terrorists, and cartels and gang members off the streets to make families safer here. It's ridiculous.
I mean, is impeding law enforcement? I mean, this is a real problem.
This is a real problem. I'm so proud of our officers that deal with this every single day. They know that America's got their backs, but what they face here every day is real prosecution.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
First of all, Omekongo, she lying. Your ass going to the bathroom is not blocking us from doing work, but here's what she wants to deny. These the police chief of Broadview say he has never been spoken to the way he was by these ICE agents. They have disrespected local police, and then they want them to reciprocate? Oh, hell no.
Oh, absolutely, hell no. And I remember also watching your show last week, and the same officer, Chief Mills was talking about his officers have been, had the effects of the tear gas and so on and so forth. How long do they think they can keep disrespecting local law enforcement? I know Pritzker was asked today if he's going to get the state troopers involved, but these are guys who got guns and got badges and got authority as well, and ultimately you're invading their city. And everybody's talking about, people should be working with Trump. Mike Johnson, yield, man, just let Trump in and let them do their thing. They have no desire to work with them. And this is Mayor Johnson has made this clear from the beginning. Trump does not want to work with them. They want to come in there and dominate and control. They had enough. And then if you look at all of the videos and posters that they're putting up on their ICE website, when they had one man getting arrested and they said, this is what's going to happen to Antifa, more coming. Antifa, which is also a fake organization in terms of no real leadership or anything like that. They're using that also as a pretext to go into these cities. Everything Mayor Johnson said was absolutely true. And I really don't know how much these law enforcement folks, the local people on the ground, because to be honest, Roland, I really feel like many of these so-called ICE agents, I just feel like these guys are the insurrectionists that were put out and are just running around lawless and reckless. And at some point, when these guys start getting arrested or getting unmasked by other people and people start tracking them down, maybe they'll start to subside. But right now, they are running loose. Ice Barbie's running loose, and what they're on the roof with snipers and everything. Nah, this can't continue, and it's just going to be a matter of time before I think local law enforcement has had enough as well with these individuals.
Zabor, I agree. I listen. We don't know who these people are. We don't know if they're oath keepers. We don't know if they're Proud Boys. We don't know if they are vigilantes. We don't know any of this.
Definitely, we are watching people that already don't have trust in law enforcement. You are against law enforcement, against the citizens of these places. You're looking at what's going on in Chicago. You're looking at how the police are being treated. And they're telling you, their governments, the local governments, we have too much big government in our local communities. And with ICE just doing whatever they want to do, they're creating trauma in these communities. These people are going to have to deal with these traumas, and there's no supports. They're not going to have any supports after ICE leaves and we try to get back to some state of normal. But how can we even get back to a place of some level of normalness when who's going to trust the police at that point? So it's really unfortunate that people that are putting their life on the lines for our communities are having the same problems that the people in the communities are having, and it's creating trauma for everybody. And there are no supports to be able to heal that trauma for these communities. So it just reminds you of everything that has happened in some of our apartheids in Germany and Hitler and all of these historic events. And how do we move forward from this? I think it's just going to be very difficult for us to even heal this trauma that they are causing.
They're acting like thugs. That's who they are, Niambi. And so I'm with them. I wouldn't give them any cooperation either.
And I think this is where we're starting to go. I mean, I think, they say politics creates strange bedfellows. I mean, this is the same government that released January 6th rioters who attacked police officers and who attacked federal law enforcement in federal buildings. And this is the same person who is now telling local law enforcement that they should cooperate when most of the time local law enforcement don't know who these people are. They've not had any communication, and these people are endangering their lives. I mean, I think this whole situation of just sort of escalation is making life more difficult in some of the ways that both my co-panelists have talked about. But when we think about the job of law enforcement, which is already difficult, you're talking about a group that does not have a lot of trust in our very same communities. And now they're in a position where they are being demeaned, where they are being treated poorly. They are being, having their professionalism attacked publicly and on a national stage. I mean, I think you will see local law enforcement divest. And even when you think about these detainers, that ICE needs local law enforcement to enforce, meaning that local law enforcement may have to hold some of these people in their facilities. They are not compensated for that. They are going to risk, having their local facilities at capacity. All of this on behalf of the federal government, and you expect a friendly assist. I don't think that's going to be forthcoming. And this government somehow just does not seem to get that message. They keep making enemies out of everyone. And in a minute, you're going to create a lot of friends out of people who have very different perspectives on lots of things, but are unified in their idea and their sense and their rightful belief that this government is dangerous and out of control.
Folks, quick break. We come back. Will we see the end of the Georgia illegal voter case? Man, wait to tell y'all what's going on there. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Join the Bring the Funk fan club. You want to support our show? Give you a cash app. Use the Stripe QR code. You see right here, bottom left-hand corner. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo's RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Check some money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. Back in a moment.
On A Balanced Life, parents, teachers, students, administrators, oh my, are you putting in the work, seeking to be a teacher, an associate principal, a principal, trying to elevate who you are and where you're going?
Our world is changing. For veteran teachers, we have to be able to usher in students into a ever-changing, ever-evolving world. If we have this triangular effect, we will create a successful student who will be able to just thrive wherever and in any situation that they're placed in.
Join us this week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie here on Black Star Network.
This is Tamala Mann.
And this is David Mann. And you're watching Roland Martin
Unfiltered.
Could we be seeing the end of the Georgia voter fraud case? The judge overseeing the Georgia election interference case against the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon-in-chief Donald Trump, as well as others, says he will dismiss the case in less than 14 days if a new prosecutor has not been appointed to take it over. Fulton County Superior Judge Scott McAfee set the deadline in a one-paragraph order on Friday. It is the responsibility of the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia to appoint a new prosecutor for the case following the disqualification of Fulton County DA Fannie Willis from continuing the prosecution. Georgia's NAACP State President Gerald Griggs joins us right now. Now, Gerald, here's the deal. Okay, who is this council? Who are they made up of? Are they Republicans? Are they Democrats? And what the hell is taking them so long?
So they're appointed by the governor. And so the governor makes a determination of who will sit on the Prosecuting Council of Georgia. And they've made the determination that they will choose who the next appointed prosecutor will be on this case. So typically they pick the prosecutors from the judicial circuits around the state. And this order by Judge Scott McAfee has put a time limit on the amount of time they have to make that appointment. And so we are very concerned. Of course, this case has dragged on for years. We want to make sure that it's fairly tried. And so we're calling on the Prosecuting Council of Georgia to appoint a duly elected district attorney from the metro Atlanta area to oversee this case and to complete the case based on the will of the people.
So how long ago was it that the Supreme Court ruled that Fannie Willis was disqualified from the case?
Last month, about 2.5 weeks ago, the Supreme Court ruled that she was disqualified. And so the judge then at that point last week issued an order giving 14 days for the file to be turned over and a new prosecutor to be appointed. And subsequently, Pete Scandalakis, who's the head of the Prosecuting Council of Georgia, filed a filing on Monday today stating that he has not received the file from the Fulton County District Attorney's Office and asked for another 90 days to get up to speed and to appoint it to a duly elected prosecutor in the state of Georgia.
So, okay. And does this council meet? Do they, I mean, like, what the hell's taking so long? You would think they would already had somebody's name in the back pocket, knowing full well it was likely she was going to get disqualified.
Well, that would be my hope. And typically they do have conflict district attorneys that are willing to take this case. But this is a very, very big case. And so I would have hoped they would have been prepared for this ruling one way or the other. But it appears that they were not ready to appoint someone. And the judge is trying to move this case down the field. So what we want people to understand is if the case is in fact dismissed, in the state of Georgia, you still have 6 months from the date of the dismissal to reactivate the prosecution. But we are concerned at the will of Fulton County residents because, again, the indictment was returned by Fulton County citizens who voted for an indictment. And the defense is entitled to due process and a fair opportunity for the case to be heard by citizens on a trial jury. So all we're asking for is the process to play its way out and not for a legal technicality to end this case.
Absolutely crazy. What are folks there saying, and what kind of pressure to be put on this council? I mean, they could just sit on this.
Well, I think people are just now recognizing what happened in the state of Georgia, just finding out about the ruling. And so we are encouraging people to contact the Prosecuting Council of Georgia at their office or through email to make sure that they understand the importance of this case and the need for the public to understand and to have a trial and for the defendants to have due process, but ultimately to get to the bottom of what happened in the election case here in Georgia.
All right, then. Gerald Griggs, we surely appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate you.
Folks, this is one of the things, again, that we really have to focus on, pay attention to. And, I've said it over and over again, and I got people, Zabora, who got mad at me, but I'm sorry. Finally, Willis screwed this up. I mean, anybody with common sense, if she did not put her boyfriend on this case, we're not having this conversation.
She definitely screwed up. I mean, as a Black woman, she knows that the level of accountability for her is way higher. So you can be a professional woman and not think of how your decisions will impact other things. This situation is causing a lot of problems, and her decision making makes you question her ability to do her job. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, you've made all of these bad decisions. How are we going to move forward? And you're putting Fulton County in a really bad position. She definitely has to make some wiser choices and make sure that she is aware of how all of these things have been impacted over the last couple of years.
It would be a shame, Niambi, if this case just went away. Bottom line is they got the goods on them. I mean, a number of these people have already pleaded guilty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think, this has been complicated by so many other things, right? I think Zabor is exactly right. I mean, the personal details, right? The things that look inappropriate, that look corrupt, kind of overshadowed the other corruption, the real things that were on the table in this case. And unfortunately, we can't have that discussion because it's been overshadowed by Fani Willis. And, I think it's unfortunate on so many dimensions. I think it's unfortunate for the people of Georgia. It's unfortunate for our democracy, but it is also unfortunate because you do have this person here who, by all metrics, right, is sort of good at her job, but has been not so good in separating the personal from the professional. And, now we can't have the most important conversation we need to have because we're talking about ethical lapses and professional miscalculation and misjudgment here.
Yeah, I'm a Congo, and it's just, again, this case could have actually gone to trial had it not been sidetracked by all of this stuff.
Yeah, and we're just another example of where Trump is not going to see the inside of a courtroom for trying to overturn the election. All the other cases or other issues, and here we are right now. And I disagree with our guest. I'm from NAACP that, this isn't working the way it's supposed to. I think it's working exactly how it's supposed to. I think they want to slow walk this and they want it to go away. I think this is their plan all along. And this is another botched opportunity to get this, man. I mean, so many dominoes had to fall in place for Trump to be able to get elected again. We have this situation, Merrick Garland waiting like over a year and a half or however long, slow walking these things. But yet here we are. With Trump, you got to dot every I and cross every T. And that was not done in this case. And now they are going to make this case go away. And so this man, so many people are aiding him in his process to become an authoritarian. And this is just another step in that process.
I'm sitting here looking, yes, y'all, some of this stuff, and I got to talk about these tariffs. And if I hear another crying ass Republican over these tariffs, and they're just, oh my God, what are we going to do? This here was a CBS piece of one of these guys in Iowa. And see, this is what I really wish these media people would do. Stop interviewing these farmers and not ask them who they voted for. They should be asking them, hey, who did you vote for during the election? All right, so here's one of these farmers complaining about tariffs and how they're losing their money.
This is the season that farmer Rob Ewalt usually lives for, harvesting nearly 2,000 acres of corn and soy.
I don't believe there'll be a profit this year. I think we will go backwards.
Ewalt learned the family business from his parents, who struggled but survived the 1980s farm crisis. He sees parallels.
As a kid, I'd go to bed, and you'd hear the whisperings of my parents talking about finances. We didn't know what was going on, but now I know what they were talking about. We want to split open the pod. Okay. The pod should crack open.
Farmers may be forced to sell their crops at steep losses now that China, once the largest buyer of U.S. soy exports, is retaliating against U.S. tariffs.
So you've done all this work, and you have more work to do, and you're losing money.
Yeah, it's a great occupation, isn't it?
It could mean ruin for some farmers. As of June, 55% more filed for bankruptcy compared to the previous year-to-year period.
It's an endless cycle that we're caught in right now, and this is all I know. Can't do it any better.
But who did you vote for? See, this is what is bugging me. Well, China not buying our soybeans. China doesn't have to. I love this idea that they think that China should be mandated to buy American soybeans. Trump shitted all over China. Trump sat there and started this trade war, and that's all we keep seeing. All we keep hearing of these farmers, oh my God, I mean, what are we gonna do? I mean, we're losing money, and it's costing us money, and hold up, here's another one. I found one more, check this out, y'all.
Northeast Ohio farmers like Portage County's Chuck Sayre, and you'll learn that there are two W's over which they have no control. Weather.
We got a little dry in August, but weather-wise, we're still pretty good.
And Washington.
In the mood I'm in right now and how we see things, I'm glad the government shut down. I wish they would get out of the way.
It's a frustration born out of a trade war with China, America's biggest buyer of soybeans, that began in 2018 when farmers like Sayre felt the initial hit.
From 2013, our income is down over 50%.
Though China cut back, they were still buying American soybeans. In this latest trade war, the China market has essentially been shut down.
China has stopped purchases of soybeans, and this is a huge impact for our farmers because this is the biggest export economy for a lot of farmers, throughout the Midwest, especially in Ohio.
That's driven down the price of soybeans, which means for farmers like Sayre, a loss on every seed that was planted this year.
Every acre of soybean we grow this year, right now, we're losing $300 per acre. So over our little 1,000-acre farm of soybeans, that's $300,000 worth of loss.
Leon B., they voted. Iowa, red state, voted Trump. Wisconsin, Trump. Michigan, Trump. Pennsylvania, Trump. Nebraska, Trump. Kansas, Trump. Missouri, Trump. I'm sorry. Y'all voted for this. See, I love this. And the crazy thing, Yami, he did this shit last time. They got screwed last time. So forgive me. I don't want to. I'm not supporting the bailout. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say two words, and this might be mean-spirited, and I've been trying not to cuss. Fuck them. No, I'm sick of these people who voted for Trump, but then, oh, I didn't vote for that. Yes, you did. Because Vice President Kamala Harris told you this was gonna happen. But no, y'all didn't wanna believe that. So now all you farmers are going broke, damn a bailout. Hell, if they all go broke, ain't my problem. Get your ass to the food line for some SNAP benefits. Oh, I'm sorry, they cutting that too.
Well, I mean, and we've seen farmers have multiple bailouts. So, I mean, this is would be one among many. But I would say to that, though, Roland, and this question comes up over and over again, it's like China told you what they would do. When Donald Trump was telegraphing, this tough talk about tariffs and how he was going to be imposing all these tariffs on countries around the world that we do business with, he took dead aim at China, and China told him then, we won't buy these soybeans, which they told him the first time he did it and what they followed through on. You're talking about an economy with 1 billion people. And they heavily are subsidizing, right, soybean production in this country because we can't absorb the amount of soybeans being produced by the United States. So, I mean, you didn't have to look at third parties to tell you. China told you. And Donald Trump also told you things like they're going to pay for it. And even though economists and everyone else said that's not how tariffs work, people let their racism, let their nativism, let their worst impulses guide their decision making, not thinking about the fact that the United States cannot govern other countries and what they choose to do, China being one of them. And so now that we're in a trade war with China, of course, we're going to be in some other stuff with South Korea and other countries around the world. We can expect not just for farmers to feel it, but for other parts of our economy to feel it. It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. And if the only thing we can ask for is more government welfare for farmers, this is going to be a real problem because you have the government talking out of both sides of their mouths. We can't say we're going to rescue farmers, but then tell, the millions of people that are on Medicare and food subsidies that there's no money for you. So I think the United States government or these farmers are going to just have to reckon with the fact that this is the United States government that is not interested in them, hasn't been interested in them, but was willing to use them. And they were more than willing to be used. And now we are all reaping the consequences of those actions.
I don't feel for any of them. Look, I love this here. 1/3 of Arkansas farmers are projected to go bankrupt by next year due to Trump's tariffs. They're now begging him for more money to survive. In 2024, Arkansas voted for Trump over Harris, 64%, 33%. I'm sorry, I don't give a shit about them going bankrupt, Zabora. I don't care. They voted for this. They knew this was going to happen. So guess what? Suck it up.
Totally agree. Everybody had the option to vote for who you wanted to vote for. Kamala Harris said tariffs was reckless. No one wanted to adhere to her. They didn't listen. They decided to vote the way they wanted to vote, and these are the unintended consequences of what they voted for. You don't win a trade war when the other side can learn to live without you. They are just finding ways to circumvent going to America, and if our farmers lose out when this is what they voted for, too bad. You should have listened to the economists. You should have listened to all of those warning signs and looked at his track record of what happened to you the last time he was in office. So at the end of the day, you knew what was going to happen and you didn't believe what was going to happen, or your hatred and your racism and all of the things that you care about more trumps what your future will look like on your farm. So if you're losing a farm for all the years that you've had that farm, too bad. We've lost so much more as a Black community with the decisions they made to vote this president in office.
I don't care, Ome Congo. I do not care. If they go broke, they go broke.
I hear you, man.
And lastly,
I hear you.
And lastly, Democrats don't bail their asses out. Cause see, they got bailed out last time. They got welfare last time, and they still said screw Biden or screw Harris. So I would be like, hell no, we ain't supporting no bailout. Hell no. Matter of fact, I would say, Trump, you want $50 billion, you want to bail out for the farmers, well then you're gonna bail out student loan.
Yeah. I mean, they could demand a lot. I mean, the Democrats could demand a lot if they wanted to. I mean, they're fighting for, the healthcare, but they can demand a lot of things right now, tariffs, cut those and the like. But when it comes to these farmers, Trump is like the guy who pays somebody to attack him and his girlfriend to lose the fight so he could be the savior. Like, he needs people to depend on him. And that is exactly what he's doing with these farmers. These farmers, I keep thinking of the late, great Dr. Joe Madison, who says, what are you going to do about it? If you feel like you've been screwed, then you should be down to be supporting the Democrats, funding Democratic campaigns. This already happened to you in 2018. But like you said, they're blaming anybody but Trump. They're blaming China. They're blaming Democrats. They're blaming Washington gridlock. What did the guy say? I could do without Washington. But they don't want to go for the guy who's making this happen. And one thing that we haven't mentioned is this Argentina $20 billion bailout that's going to be happening. And Argentina's making a deal with China for the soybeans as well. So it's like they're getting screwed in so many different levels. We're bailing out these other countries and screwing the farmers. And they should have been paying attention not only in 2018, but also when USAID got closed down, because that was also a venue that they used to get their grains across the world as well. And when that didn't happen, when they didn't speak up after that got shut down, I'm like, they're still going to ride with this dude regardless. They're still going to build with what this guy says regardless. And once they lose their land and it's bought by some type of foreign entity, because Trump got all these connections with the Saudis and so on and so forth, I still don't know if we're going to get them to move towards the Democratic side come 2026 and come 2028. But I think the Democrats will have a big heart, and if they get in, they're still going to bail them out anyway. I can see it.
Go broke. Hey, what do they used to do in Rome in the Colosseum? I do not have an ounce of empathy for these people. I cannot feel bad for somebody who voted for a person who made it clear he was going to launch tariffs, and it screwed you last time, and then you're shocked you got screwed. So, what remember that hotel guy? It's above me now. It's above me now. I do not support welfare, a subsidy, a bailout, whatever you want to call it, for these farmers. And matter of fact, since we're going to do that, I only support a bailout for farmers in blue states. Isn't that how Trump is operating? I'm just saying. Yeah. All right, y'all, going to a break. We come back. We're going to talk to one of the candidates running for mayor of New Orleans. Election is on Saturday. Let's talk about it. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
Michael McMillan, President and CEO of the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
folks, on Saturday, voters in New Orleans will elect their next mayor. 3 frontrunners have emerged from a crowded field of 11 candidates vying for the position. Louisiana State Senator Russ Duplessis, City Council Vice President Helena Marino, and City Council Member Oliver Thomas. They're competing to replace Mayor LaToya Cantrell, who is term limited and will leave office in January. Cantrell is currently facing federal corruption charges. New Orleans City Council Member Oliver Thomas joins us right now. Councilman Thomas, glad to have you back on the show.
Man, good to be back with you, Roland.
A lot of folks have been voting early. Black turnout is high as well. Most important, your top 3 priorities if you're elected mayor of New Orleans.
Well, first of all, to make sure that this little crime surge we have right now is stymied and we can have a safe community. And then the delivery of city services has really kind of fallen apart. People really want and expect that if they're going to pay their taxes, if they're going to pay the city, that they should get their services on time. And then the last thing is, how do we come together to protect this community? We've been under siege, we see, by threats, outside threats from the federal government, as well as we need to have a better relationship with our state. Our state needs to be more partner than predator. But those are 3 things, along with having some of the most qualified people to run those departments. I'm going to be looking at those areas.
One of the things that jumps out, obviously, economic revitalization. You're still trying to recover, frankly, from Katrina. Businesses left, people left, rebuilding your housing infrastructure. What's your plan for that?
Well, Louisiana's a losing population. The metro region is a losing population. But the crazy thing is that we attract people. We punch way above our weight when you talk about tourism. We're one of the most visited places in the world per capita. We need to build on that. I have a plan for 10,000 houses, bring together housing experts. Let's use a lot of nonprofits that were successful in the past. Let's take a look at how we reprogram CBDG funds for soft seconds. How do we use the Good Neighbor program and the Teacher Next Door program that are successful around the country to make sure that teachers, law enforcement personnel, and others can get an opportunity, even in many cases with their meager salaries, can get an opportunity to own a home in our community. So I was the first person out with the 10,000 Homes program, and I really want to mimic some of the success that happened here, as well as what happens around the country. Look, one thing we know, we have space.
One of the things that also is the public trust. And look, there have been way too many New Orleans mayors, city council members who have been indicted, guilty, gone to prison for corruption. How do you gain the public's trust and let them know that you're going to be different than what has happened in the past, unfortunately?
Well, first of all, I'm much better because of what I went through. I want to have an office of ethics and integrity that's transparent, so people can see at every time that we're working hard to establish that trust. But one of the most difficult things that we're going to have to do in this country, as well as in local communities, people don't trust the political system. We're going to gain that trust by our actions to make sure that we're above and beyond board, our principles, our integrity, we lead. And I'm committed to doing that. I want to be the first mayor to have an office of public trust and integrity. We're going to lead with that, and we're going to work hard to earn the citizens' trust. But like most folk who fell down, I really think I'd offer an opportunity to a community that's struggling to show how we can get up. Just because you fall down doesn't mean you stay down. In many cases, your lowest point may be a way that you can look up to see that we can get to our highest point. And New Orleans deserves the very best from me and all of government.
Questions from our panel. Congo, you first.
Yes, I'm very, very passionate about education. And one of the things I'm wondering is, even with Trump's targeted attacks and what they're doing across the country, they just have very blind policies that they are creating across all departments that are having real impact in local communities. Given what is happening with the Department of Education in this country, how do you support local education initiatives with everything that they are doing in terms of cuts and just getting rid of various programs from DEI and the like?
Well, that's one of the things that I built my reputation on. I won the Jefferson Award for taking kids who were failing and putting one on the honor roll. I was a Meal of the Year by the social workers here in New Orleans for the mentoring and the work that I do. I grew up in the Lower Ninth Ward, Desire, one of the poor communities in this city. And that doesn't mean anything in terms of your intellect, but also I want to be the first mayor that has an Office of Education that works hand in hand with the superintendent. And I'm the only elected official that has an after-school program. That's part of my life, man. That's part of what I'm committed to. And those awards that I won, those awards were before I got elected, which shows that you don't have to get involved in education and get involved with our kids just because you have a political title. That's a way of life for me.
Niambi?
Yeah, so thank you for speaking with us tonight. I wanted to know, what do you think the healthcare climate is meaning for your city? And in particular, I'm thinking about maternal mortality for Black women, not just in the city of New Orleans, but in the state as a whole, access to STI screenings, birth control, and contraception. Like, how do you address that? Because I imagine it matters.
Yeah, that's something that I deal with. I started the first mental health show, Mentally Speaking, 10 years ago on WBOK. I wasn't elected, but as someone who grew up in a neighborhood that saw his first body, my brother and I, when we were in elementary school, I understand the effects of mental health trauma. When you talk about STDs in this community, over the last 10 or 11 years, Black women have led in HIV and sexually transmitted diseases. Louisiana is 44th in health care. So whether it's mental health, physical health, this community deserves, I think, a national trauma center that takes a look at mental health and chronic illnesses. We lead. New Orleans flips back and forth with St. Louis and Detroit when you talk about chronic illnesses here. So that's something that I lended a platform to, that as mayor, I want to have a health department that focuses on chronic illnesses, especially in our largest demographic, the African-American community. So that's already part of my life. So you can make sure that that's going to be a priority in my administration.
Thank you.
Zabora?
Thank you, Mr. Thomas, for being on here. You talked about expanding housing and neighborhood programs, and I want to know, how will you make sure that disabled and deaf residents aren't just included on paper, but are fully centered in these programs and getting housing and ensuring that they are accessible, affordable, and designed with those individuals in mind?
Well, it seems like every question you guys are asking is in line with my resume. My family, my late sister, Juliet, was disabled. She had cerebral palsy. It was a difficult time getting around with my family in a city that didn't have access. And one of the other things I did, one of the icons, heroes, as a matter of fact, there are neutral grounds with his picture on it, Charles Toubre. I worked with him several years ago to make sure that we brought light to whether it was disabled access, the ADA, buses where the disabled can access. And as we begin to construct new buildings and new housing and new places to live, we are missing out in this country on billions of dollars just because families and folk with disabilities can't access commercial places or can't access public spaces. So this is something I had to grow up with. This is something that I'm going to continue to work with. So though my late sister is not here and Charlie Toubre isn't here, that's ingrained into who I am.
Right then, well, again, the election is on Saturday, and then just 5 days up to campaign. Councilman Thomas, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you guys. Continue to do what you do and leading the way and not only speaking truth to power, but doing it from a power position. We appreciate that. That's what I want to do as mayor.
All right. Thanks so much. I certainly appreciate it. Folks, got to go to a break. We come back. More on today's show, including an organization celebrating its 20th anniversary that was founded by my man, Harry Belafonte, the Gathering for Justice. They're having their big gala on the 13th of October. We'll talk about that on the show. Plus, lots more to break down. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network.
Said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat. So they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds.
As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shooting.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.
Lil Thompson with winwithblackmen.org. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Folks, in Louisiana, new video evidence presented by the attorney for a deceased former LSU star, raising major concerns about the case against him. Kyron Lacey tragically died by suicide earlier this year. This was after he was charged with a vehicular homicide. Now, this footage was taken December 2024. It was reviewed by attorney Matt Ory on Louisiana's HTV10, showing Lacey's car was far behind the deadly crash in LaFourche Parish and had not even been visible at the moment of impact. The crash killed 78-year-old Herman Hall. At the time, state police claim another driver swerved to avoid Lacey, sparking the collision and leading to charges of negligent homicide in the hit and run. Well, shocking details have also surfaced. Police officers were caught on body cam footage coaching a key witness to implicate Lacey. Watch this.
Look, don't worry about filling any of this top information, like your name, address. Don't worry about any of that. Just right here, if you could, I'll just have you write exactly what you saw. Just make sure to include, where you were.
I don't even know what the name of that highway.
It's Highway 20. Highway 20. That you just.
All right, me and my wife gonna figure out right quick.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes and the brakes, you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that charger, and the brakes locked up to avoid that charger. That's.
I ain't skid mark or nothing. I wasn't even gone, man. That lady in the back of me, she didn't saw what was happening. That's how she called that wreck. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side, and that's not in it.
So, but the charger was coming right at you, correct? And that's why you had to slam on your brake, the head on with you. So yeah, just make sure you include that, and that's very important because we're trying to locate this charger right now. So look, don't worry about filling any of this time.
The officers reportedly turned off their body cams before a statement was written by an unnamed individual. Now the Louisiana Democratic Party is demanding an independent investigation, blasting what it calls wrongful accusations and pushing for the Lacey Law, a bill aimed at stopping false reporting and holding law enforcement accountable. Now, in October 4th statement, state police said findings during the investigation showed that Lacey's reckless driving led to the crash. Quote, no one disputes that he was behind the crash scene. But Attorney General Liz Murrill released this statement today. I have been in touch with Louisiana State Police about independently reviewing all the witness statements and evidence in this case. That's what's going on here. And so the civil rights group Purpose for the People, they're calling for a full criminal and federal investigation into the officers. They have a peaceful protest planned later this month. It's going to take place on Saturday, October 25th from noon to 2 p.m. at Martin Luther King Park, 900 Ledette Drive. That's 900 Ledette Drive. Let's go to our panel here. This right here is obviously extremely troubling on Congo. I mean, this was a young man who was projected to be first round, second round pick in the NFL draft. He took his life because so many people assumed that he was guilty, that he actually did this. Now his attorney is saying, no, he was not close to the scene.
Well, this is incredibly tragic. You know, we spend so much attention, rightfully so, to unarmed shootings of police and serious issues like that, as of course we should. But there are also, Black lives that we lose over situations like this, and we don't talk about this enough. The fact that this man this young man is gone because of how he was tormented after this in this community after police potentially lied about what this man did. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that people can just go all of this time and just live their lives after destroying this man's life, even if he lived, his whole career would have been destroyed with these investigations, but he's gone. And his family has to deal with that, and our community has to deal with this. And he should be here right now, save for the potentially false accusations of these police officers. And the fact that this was not investigated beforehand just means that some people were just intent on throwing this man's life away. Maybe they thought he was too big for his britches, too popular or whatever. They were just intent on doing this. And now we have to go backwards to try to rebuild this case, which should have never happened in the first place. It's tragic, and there needs to be real consequences if more wrongdoing is found.
Zabor?
This is ridiculous. We are looking at how a kid's life was took. Even though he committed suicide, their decisions impacted this young man's life just being gone and his family having to grieve and go through all these things. He didn't die in a vacuum. This is a part of just a long, violent history of how places like Louisiana and Mississippi treat our Black children. When something happens with them, they don't thoroughly investigate. They rewrite our stories and they lie to cover up, and the power that is never being in check is not accountable. And until we confront the history and change it and make sure that for kids like Lacey, we are doing something to hold these people accountable, I don't know how we go forward with raising our children and they're in these environments where we can't trust the police, we can't trust the reporting of the incidents that are happening. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Nyambe?
I was like, this is just tragic and cruel. I remember when the story was first reported, I mean, this young man had his reputation and his future dragged through the mud with little to no investigation, it appears, or at least with the investigation was there. For whatever reason, it seems like someone was intent to ruin this young man's future when, by all accounts, all he wanted to do was play football. And he did that at a very high level and had his whole future ahead of him. And not just his future, the future for his family. He had a younger brother and others who were counting on him. And he wanted to be that person to change his family's future. and their trajectory and the pressure. I think this, more than anything else, shows the pressure that this young man was under, that mentally he just could not continue, because it very much looked like the state of Louisiana was prepared to send him to prison for something that he absolutely didn't appear anywhere near close to doing. Certainly the story of him weaving in and out of traffic behind the accident was not the cause of said accident. And I will also, commend his family and his attorney for continuing to fight for justice on behalf of Kyron, because he absolutely did not deserve what happened to him. And I would say that there is negligence and there is responsibility here for Kyron's death, and it's not Kyron. It is the state of Louisiana. It is the recklessness of some local news organizations and the way they reported this story. Like, it was already a foregone conclusion that this young man had killed someone with his vehicle and then rode away and didn't render aid and didn't assist. I mean, it was just a horrible thing to happen to any person. But when we think about the psyche and the pressure of young people, and certainly of this young man, we have to remember what the stakes are. Our children are still our children. He is not a man. He was a baby. And I think we don't think about that often because they're big and because they're strong and they have muscles and all of these things. But that young man's mental health took a toll. And it's evidenced by the fact that he ended his life. And it's tragic.
Indeed. Extremely, extremely tragic. And so we'll hopefully see a real investigation take place. All right, folks, got to go to break. We come back. We'll talk about the Gathering for Justice 20 years later, after an organization founded by Harry Belafonte started. We'll talk about their upcoming gala right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
This week on The Other Side of Change.
We are talking about our North Star, our luminary, our guide, Assata Shakur, who recently passed away in Cuba. We're going to unpack her legacy.
I refuse to allow Assata's legacy to die before children that aren't even born. Like, our babies that aren't even born must know her and must know her. And that roadmap is going to get us closer to liberation.
You're watching The Other Side of Change only on the Black Star Network.
Next on The Black Table with me, Craig Carr. A reminder that there is always more to a story than meets the eye. From book bannings, growing censorship in our classrooms, and the loss of basic human rights, the actual motivations behind those actions and others paint an even more troubling picture than most of us realize.
What we need to do is bring this issue front and center to the table, because the alternative is that we'll just go down slow, which is no way to go down.
Master historian and educator Dr. Gerald Horn joins us again, and we take a deep dive into the truths behind the headlines of the day and how we might be able to turn the tide. That's on the next Black Table here on the Black Star Network.
They said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
Hey, this is Motown recording artist Kim. You are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. That boy, he always unfiltered though. I ain't never known him to be filtered. Is there another way to experience Roland Martin than to be unfiltered? Of course he's unfiltered. Would you expect anything less? Watch what happens next.
14 years ago, in Atlanta, Georgia, I called for a gathering of community leaders, civil rights leaders, artists, and activists to come to a thing we called the gathering. And at that gathering, we discussed the state of the Union, the state of America, the state of the black condition. That gathering turned out to be quite impressive. And ever since then, the gathering has endured and has been continuing to do work in the communities across this country. 14 years is a long time, and I am honored and pleased to see that this little idea has blossomed into a movement, primarily pioneered by a young woman by the name of Carmen Perez. She's a remarkable young woman, and she has led this organization with great dexterity and with confidence. I would like to ask you, in the name of those 14 years, to make a donation to the gathering for it to continue to do its work. $14, a dollar for every year we've been together, is a way in which we're able to continue to support the programs we're creating around the country. If you're so inclined, and I hope you are, I'd ask you to donate $14 to the gatheringforjustice.org. Thank you for listening, and thank you for contributing.
Folks, that was 6 years ago. That, of course, was Harry Belafonte for the 14th anniversary of the Gathering for Justice. And October 13th, they're going to be in New York City celebrating their 20th anniversary. A number of people will be gathering there to talk about the work that they've done, the efforts they have been involved in, and how far they've come in these 20 years. One of the folks who's been there from the beginning is my next guest. She, of course, met Harry Belafonte, an opportunity to work with him. Carmen Perez Jordan, she's the president and CEO of the Gathering for Justice. Carmen, glad to have you here. This was, the thing that a lot of people don't realize, just the number of entities, whether we're talking about the Gathering for Justice, whether we're talking about Sankofa, up until his final breath, Mr. B was forever engaged in social justice, and he understood the need for, frankly, the next generation to be tapped, as opposed to the elders or the old heads continuing to lead efforts.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Roland, for always giving us a platform at the Gathering for Justice and Justice League NYC. You're absolutely right. The gathering began as Mr. B's call to conscience. And for 2 decades, we've answered that call, organizing across race, generations, and geography to end child incarceration, state-sanctioned violence, and gender justice. This milestone for us is really a reflection on what justice looks like in America today and how we continue to build the world that our children deserve. And so 20 years, I can't believe it. Definitely a milestone, but there's so much work to do still. And so I hope that folks are able to join us. We've trained thousands of young people in Kingian nonviolence and organizing, really continuing not just the legacy of Harry Belafonte, but also Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We've built movements like the Women's March, Free Meek Mill, Moms for Melissa, I Am Meg, and changed laws and created spaces for healing as well as transformation. As you know, we founded Justice League NYC, and we became the engine for criminal justice reform, from closing Rikers to raising the age of criminal responsibility. So there's a lot to celebrate. There's also, I think, in these very dark times, a moment to come together and to also begin to think about what does a legacy look like continuing for the next 20 years.
I'm going to go back to what he talked about, was that gathering in Atlanta. And while it was happening, it dawned on him that this is not the group. This is not the room that's going to fix the problem. In his documentary, he talked about that. It dawned on him that frankly, it was too many older folks who were talking about what needed to happen. And he said, no, I need to be connecting with the younger generation.
Absolutely. I think one of the beautiful things about Mr. B is that he was able to bring elders uh, together with young people to harness the energy of the young people. But we are still an intergenerational organization. I think about everyone who has been able to share their wisdom with so many of us. As you saw in the clips, Cornell West has come to talk to us. Mr. B spent hours and hours and hours with leaders from Ferguson, BLM, Justice League NYC, the Women's March. He really lent his time to many of us, the Dream Defenders. And so I think Mr. B had a very different vision for the world where he was able to access the wisdom of the elders to harness the energy of the youth and really drive something forward. And you're right, that day he was like, look, all these folks have their own platforms, they're engaged in their own organizations. What does it look like to really bring the next generation? And I believe it was a October convening where I was brought by my mentor Nane Alejandres from Barrios Unidos, and ever since then I've been dedicated to this work and the Gathering for Justice.
For folks who don't know, what exactly does the Gathering for Justice do?
So we train young people in organizing, Kingian nonviolence. We have what's called the Youth Organizers United. We also build movements. We are kind of like a movement incubator. It's where, you know, young people, we have our rapid response, which is Justice League. Those who are feeling very disengaged, feeling disempowered, they're able to come and really, you know, be part of something larger than themselves, as well as we change policies. Right now, we're working to close down Rikers. We have policies in New York that we're fighting, and NQA. There's so many things that we do, from policy to organizing to stopping police violence, to stopping child incarceration. We work on various issues as well as we work on a gender lens. As many people know, the 2017 Women's March was brought into the Gathering for Justice, where we were able to really create entry points for women to get involved. And it was the largest single day protest in the history of the world.
When you look at what's happening right now, obviously there's a lot of people who frankly are fearful of going to the streets. They're fearful of being attacked by Donald Trump and his federal thugs as well. So how do you see right now the movement? Is it some say stalled, others say no, it's actually more quiet behind the scenes? How would you assess what's happening? Because obviously we're not seeing the same massive turnout and things along those lines that we have seen over the last several years.
Yeah, I think Mr. B taught us that movement work is about more than protest. It's about building the beloved community that his good friend and confidant, Dr. King, dreamt of, right? And so a lot of us are organizing underground. Not everything is for the gram, not everything is for social media. There's a lot of work that happened outside of social media that we were doing. We do healing justice work. So not only are we teaching people how to organize, create demands, or to learn how to do civil disobedience, we're also providing healing work for folks that are really feeling the weight of what's happening in this moment, or for many, many years. I think a lot of folks have gone underground. They're strategizing, they're connecting with one another, especially because right now organizations and activists are being targeted. And so there's an opportunity to really be in solidarity with one another, to continue the work. I know there's a lot of initiatives being launched. There's binational work happening. There's cross solidarity work happening. And again, a lot of folks, if you're not connected, there's opportunities to be connected. You could go to our website, you could follow us on social media, and you can learn more about the efforts and get involved in the work that's happening. But I will say, it's, you know, we've been criminalized for going out and protesting. And so people are protecting themselves. People are doing and utilizing other tactics and strategies to be part of this work.
Absolutely. You know, this is called something different because 10 years ago it was called the Justice Ball.
Yeah, and you were the host. Yes. This is 20 years of impact. We are wanting to celebrate the 20 years, and we know that there's still more work that needs to happen. Coming together on October 13, reclaiming Indigenous People Day in New York is really important for us. It's going to be a night of storytelling, music, and solidarity, and a reminder of the power of community and what's possible when we come together. We're going to be honoring some extraordinary leaders and allies who embody justice in action. We have Zakia Shakir Ansari, who's the executive director of Alliance for Quality Education. She's one of our Justice League members, as well as Desiree Perez, CEO of Rock Nation, and our elder, Danny Glover, who has always guided us. He's always been there really supporting the work that we do, as well as Desiree, who has been somebody who we've been working with through United Justice Coalition. So it's going to have people who have used their voices and platforms empowered to advance equity and freedom, and we're really excited to come together to celebrate.
Questions from our panel. Zabor, you first.
Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. I'm a student. I'm in a PhD program at Howard, and I'm just curious, how do me, myself, get other students involved in the services and the things that you are doing and just get them more aware of what's going on?
Absolutely. Well, we love students. We currently work in 5 high schools. We also engage a lot of the young people that we have worked with, like Bria Baker, came from Yale, and she was part of Justice League. And so they could plug in through our work by sending us a message. Our website is www.gatheringforjustice.org, or you could reach out to us on social media at Gather for Justice. We would love to talk to your young people. We would love to get them engaged in our work. Really, it's about this generation in this moment. One of our greatest asset is our human asset. Resources come and go, but it's really the people that drive the movement. And so please connect us to your young folks. They are the now generation. Yes, they're the future, but they're also the present, and they're really the greatest gift we have. And it is our responsibility as, people who've been in this work for a long time to continue to cultivate their leadership. It's what Mr. Belafonte taught us, and that's how we're going to make changes, by bringing everyone with us, especially our youth.
You're right. And so I was pulling this up. So I had to pull up my man Johnny Nunez's photos, but this was, of course, 10 years ago. I've got a few myself as well. So that's when it was Carmen Perez, not Carmen Perez Jordan.
Oh my God, yes, that's not with babies. It's a very different movement when you're a mama, because they come first.
Absolutely. Omekongo?
Thank you so much for the work that you're doing. And as a college professor, I know that there's some college students who'd be interested in your work as well. Given Mr. Belafonte's incredible legacy as an artist, what approaches does your organization take as it relates to embracing the arts as a tool for social change in this day and age?
Well, that is actually part of our core values. It's in the fabric of the organization. Mr. Belafonte taught us that artists are the gatekeepers of truth, their civilization's radical voice. And so we partner with artists who are called artivists. We actually have a song called I Believe that was put together by some of our activist artivists, Karis LeVay, My Son Lennon, as well as Jackie Cruz and FIFA. And so art is immersed in all the work that we do, not just music, but also any type of art, video. The way in which we tell stories has always been through music, through videos, through, collective art and storytelling. We also have a film called Following Harry, especially if you are all professors. This is a film following Mr. Belafonte, the last 14 years of his life, connected to contemporary artists and activists. And you really get to see a behind the scenes of his mentorship to our generation. And so that's also a great film to share with your students as well.
Niambi.
Congratulations. 20 years is huge. So I wanted to ask you, one, about how has your focus on youth incarceration not changed, but evolved, because now we have the incarceration of immigrant children and these separations. Like, how do you adapt to address that kind of need, which is a slightly different thing, a different kind of activism?
Yeah, what we're learning from the young people that we serve. We also work on stopping police violence. So I really appreciate the conversation you all had earlier, right? And what that does, how we criminalize young Black boys or young Black children who seem to perceive to be older. But in regards to what we're seeing right now in our high schools, our young people are facing multi issues. So initially, we go in thinking that we're dealing with young people that are impacted by gangs or violence, incarceration, and drugs. But we're now having to pivot by offering Know Your Rights trainings, workshops for our young folks because they're also being impacted by immigration reform. Their parents are actually the ones that are getting picked up and being chased by ICE in the fields. It's something that we saw. One of the counties that we work in is Ventura County. It was raided a couple months ago. It was all over TV. And so our organizers that are on the ground tell us, we can't just focus on leadership development or job empowerment, organizing or Kingdom Nonviolence. We also have to equip these young people with Know Your Rights. So we try to give them stipends so that they could participate in our programming. We also feed them, and then we try to make the sessions relevant to what they're facing. But there's also an intersection, right, that we're not really talking about is, especially when it comes to police violence, is that now we're also seeing state sanctioned violence when it comes to ICE raids and detention centers. So there's an opportunity to really build solidarity in this moment. And I know for the work that I've done with Mr. Belafonte, that was something that was very important to him. But certainly our work is pivoting. We have to respond to the moment. We just can't go as business as usual, and we have to make things that are relevant. Some of our programming is in Spanish. We do a Dr. Martin Luther King Solidarity Summit in Oxnard. Even though it's predominantly Latino, we really try to make sure that we're teaching the lessons of Dr. King and people to understand the rights in which they get to have privilege to actually benefiting from, and the teachings of Harry Belafonte. But we offer our programming in English and Spanish as well to make sure that the parents understand that there are resources for them.
This, of course, was a photo we took that night, me and Mr. B, that night. It was November 9th, 2015. Yes, I always have my archives going. And in fact, so this, folks, who you see the show when we normally in our living room area, so that portrait you see right there, that actually was auctioned that night. I should have bought it that night. It probably would have cost me a lot less money than what I did. But that was a piece that was being auctioned that night. I love the piece. And so the sister who did it, when we opened our studios here, I commissioned a second one done. That's the exact same one that was that night. Obviously, mad respect for Mr. B. He's passed away April 25th, 2023. It has certainly been, of course, we had celebration of life a year later on his birthday at Riverside Church. But obviously, Carmen, someone who was such a towering figure, it still must be difficult having him not physically with us.
Yeah. I saw the video that you shared and I got a little emotional. I think in these moments I pray for him to speak to me, and then I'll start reading his book, and there you have it, all the answers that you prayed for in his book. But there's a lot of moments where I miss him. I was in the office with him almost every day. Friday nights were probably my favorite, where he would put on his music, his sounds of Africa, and I would play my hip hop and we'd exchange. He'd give me some rum that kind of burns my my esophagus, burned my chest, but we would talk, and I just loved being in the office with him. I learned so much. If you asked him a question, he took 3 hours to answer it because he gave you a historical analysis. He wanted you to really know how we got to the moment. I think right now a lot of people need his wisdom, and that's why I really encourage people to watch the film Following Harry. Follow our work as well at the Gathering for Justice and get involved. There's a lane for everyone. He would always say, whatever gift you have, bring that to the movement. And there is definitely room for all of us during these times. And I feel like, we want everyone to be part of this moment and to attend the gala, especially because, we are in dark times and we need each other more than ever.
Where can Following Harry be watched?
So if you reach out to me again through the gathering for justice.org email or website, you can we could respond to you and support you in actually finding the film. We are collaborating with universities to offer the film. And so again, reach out to us at the gathering and we'd be more than happy to connect you to the filmmaker, Suzanne Rostock, as well as Frankie, who is one of the lead producers, Frankie Nassau. The Gathering for Justice is working with the Following Harry team to make sure that this film gets out to the world, especially because the answers are there. He was speaking directly to us, even though it was 14 years ago, 7 years ago when they were filming. He is talking about what we are currently facing in this moment.
Absolutely. And so I saw it. I forgot where I saw it, but I want to actually see it again. So
yeah, I'm going to send you a message, Roland.
All right, let's do that. We're going to close it out. This was actually something put together for his birthday. So folks, go to my iPad, y'all. Check this out.
We've been fighting for a long time, and the battle ain't won. We've been fighting for a long time, and the battle ain't won. I believe we will. I believe that we will win. I believe we will. I believe.
Me too.
I believe that we
It's my song. It started with a vision to keep the kids out of prison, so he convened the youth and then they begin on the mission to find the agenda and change the current conditions in the spirit of King. So we moving in that tradition. The movement is of conviction, righteousness and truth. We fighting for what's right to improve the life of the youth. Still the coppers that shoot unarmed men with their hands up. It's time for all the women and all the men to stand up for justice and become a part of the league. I know that we gon' win. I swear to God, I believe that we gon' be free. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'ma keep fighting with every breath that I breathe. I believe.
I believe.
I believe.
I believe.
Do you believe?
I believe.
Do you believe?
I believe that we will win.
I believe.
Folks, the gala will be taking place October 13th. Pull it up. Show what the, y'all should have the, I thought I saw it earlier. Okay, all right. So if people want to attend, where do they get information? But if they can't attend, how can they still support the Gathering for Justice, Carmen?
Absolutely. It's going to be on Monday, October 13. We're gathering in New York City at St. Paul and St. Andrew United Methodist Church on 86th Street. And if you want to get a ticket, it's going to be www.gatheringforjustice.org, or you could support us. You could sponsor somebody to attend on your behalf, or you could make a donation. I mean, at this moment, like I said, it's really going to take all of us. We fund us, and so we're hoping to celebrate together, and we would really love all of you to join us. Again, help us carry this legacy forward. It belongs to all of us and the generations to come.
Absolutely. Carmen Perez-Jordan, I appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to everyone who spoke today.
Not a problem at all. All right, folks, that is it for us. Let me thank our panelists. We thank Zabora Niambi, Omi Congo. Thanks so very much for being with us. I certainly appreciate it. Thanks a bunch, y'all. It's always the thing that we're doing here is always about the work, is always about supporting efforts. A little bit earlier, I was, not a little bit earlier, today, I was attending an event, Congressional Country Club, where the contractors for cancer, they were actually, they're raising money for colorectal cancer. And I was invited to play in a golf tournament, Congressional, and this is something that we don't obviously talk a lot about. We know, of course, our dear friend Chadwick Boseman passed away, and so I had a chance to catch up with one of the organizers, and so I just talked about this golf tournament and what they do to raise money to deal with the issue of colorectal cancer. All right, so check this out. Tell us about CAC.
CAC is Contractors Against Cancer. We're raising money for colorectal cancer. We had a tremendous event the last 2 days, a concert, auction, and golf today at Congressional Country Club. If you want to be involved, www.contractorsagainstcancer, all one word.org.
And how long you been having the tournament?
This is our second year.
Second year?
Yep.
Second year. And so this year raised how much?
About $750,000.
And what's going to be your goal for next year?
We're going for $1 million.
All right.
Go for $1 million.
All right, then. Give us correct spelling, first, last name.
Doug Riley, R-I-L-E-Y.
Gotcha. And title?
I am the chairman of the Contractors Against Cancer group.
There we go. All right. Doug is a man of many words. But again, they raised $750,000. It was great to see so many people out there, folks I know. And again, these efforts, and we talk about this all the time. Last week, Alex English had his golf tournament, Nancy Lieberman Klein, Warwick Dunn, so many different people. And there's so many different organizations and charities that are benefiting from this. And so this was a huge one, again, for the second year to raise $750,000. And don't forget, if you are a brother or get a sister, get your colonoscopy. Please get it done. Had mine done earlier this year. Get your colonoscopy done, please. Do not put it off. I don't care if you are a woman as well. We often talk about men not getting colonoscopies, but women also get colonoscopies as well. So those things are important. All right, y'all, that's it for us. Don't forget to support the work that we do. If you want to, our goal is raise $1 million by 20,000, and our goal, very simple, 20,000 folks contribute $50 each. Listen, we can do that, and the things that we're doing right now, y'all, it's amazing stuff. We've got a lot of things coming up over the next 3 weeks. We're going to be traveling around Virginia, getting ready for the elections in November. So we're going to be, I just locked it down. We're going to be at Virginia State next week. Next Thursday, October 16th. Then the following week, we're going to be in several different cities in Virginia. The end of the month, we're going to be in Houston at Afrotech, broadcasting live from there as well. And then November 3rd, the day before the election, we'll be also broadcasting on the road in Virginia. All that stuff is going on. We plan on heading back out to LA in November to shoot more Roland with Roland episodes. All that's going on. We're launching the daily news show, another daily show. We're launching a weekly show. We're completely redeveloping BlackStarNetwork.com to be a news portal. So all those things are happening, but the reality is also it takes dollars. And so your support is critical. And so if you want to contribute to us, please do so. If you want to give via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You can also use this QR code for credit cards. So you see it right here, bottom left-hand corner. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Check some money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037 7-0196. Of course, download the Black Star Network app. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Available at bookstores nationwide. If you want to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered swag, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Our new t-shirts, hoodies, wall art, mugs, all that good stuff. Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Also, if you want to support the black-owned businesses that we stand with, go to our marketplace at shopblackstarnetwork.com. Okay, here are the goods. This is the website. You see all the different goods on the website. Check it out right here. Get all these black-owned products. You see all the ones that are to my left on my news set right here. Y'all check it all out. Support these companies. And download download the Fanbase app. So get the app. Of course, got some great new features on there. And of course, if you want to invest, go to startengine.com/fanbase. And shout out to Southern University. I was in Baton Rouge over the weekend, wasn't at Southern. I spoke to the 83rd Louisiana State Conference of the NAACP, gave a keynote speech there. It's available on our YouTube channel or our app as well. But again, I was there and the brother approached me and said, hey, well, how can we talk to you about giving the commencement speech at Southern University? I was like, yo, shoot me an email, would love to do it. I gave it at Grambling a few years ago and turned that joint out. So, would love to get the commencement at Southern. Y'all just let a brother know. And any of the universities out there, be sure to let me know as well. Oh, by the way, I saw Oakwood University got a new president, and I was going through my stuff, and I realized I don't have any Oakwood University swag. I spoke there a number of years ago, so y'all do me a favor, Oakwood. Send me a crew neck or send me a golf shirt. Send me some swag. because I told y'all, I only wear swag, HBCU swag on this show, places that I visited. Of the 107 HBCUs, I've actually been to 58 of them. And so we're rocking the gear. And so, y'all, Oakwood, hook me up. So one of y'all graduates, y'all let them know to send me some stuff I'll wear on the show. But I saw that again when I saw their new, I'm reading this thing right here. I saw their new president. So that's it right there. So I'll wear somebody else's shirt tomorrow. So we'll see. All right, y'all. Matter of fact, y'all do me a favor. Y'all hit me on social. Let me know what school y'all want to see me wear some swag tomorrow. All right, I got to bounce. I'll see y'all tomorrow.